Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking on a mission that feels less like a review and more like a confrontation.
A confrontation is a good word for it.
Yeah. We are diving into this incredibly intense set of lessons, all focused on radical self-discipline, and really the urgent non-negotiable need for personal transformation.
Right. And our source material today, it's not interested in cheerleading. Not at all.
No, it's a blueprint. It's a blueprint for earning every single part of the life you say you want.
And that's the key distinction, isn't it? The word earning. These lessons are built on this core premise that motivation, it comes and goes, it's fleeting. But discipline is permanent.
So our job today is to analyze this blueprint.
Exactly. We need to move past the high voltage language, which is very intentional, and distill the absolute core actionable insights.
Insights about what specifically?
Well, about time, accountability, and all those mental roadblocks that keep people stuck. The source material forces you, the listener, to face a truly brutal question.
And that's our mission today.
That's our mission, to really dig into that question. Am I really living, or am I just existing?
That question just gets deep. Because it implies that most of us right now are just existing.
It does. It's designed to.
And the source is so explicit about it. It says, I'm not here to give you fake motivation. It's designed to be a mirror so you can see the truth. But here's the question I have for someone listening who's already struggling, who already feels overwhelmed. How do we make sure this level of, radical honesty doesn't just become crushing or demotivating?
That's a fantastic point, and I think that's precisely the role of this deep dive.
Okay.
The material is so intense because it's targeting inertia. When you're stuck, you don't need gentle suggestions. You need a shock to the system.
So we're analyzing the mechanics of that shock.
Exactly. We're not just endorsing the harsh tone. We're looking at why it works. The confrontation is meant to generate friction, and friction is what creates movement. Our job is to examine the utility of that friction.
What makes these specific tactics so effective for breaking out of that state of being stuck?
Precisely.
Okay, then let's do it. Let's unpack this blueprint, starting with the absolute core asset, the one thing that underpins every single aspiration.
Time.
Lesson 1 is titled, Time is Your Life. And right away, it introduces this terrifyingly fatal exchange about how most of us treat our daily minutes.
It's a fundamental mindset shift. A semantic shift, really.
That's so.
Well, we all casually say it, right? We're killing time while we wait in line or scroll on our phones.
Sure, yeah. I say it all the time.
And the source just emphatically corrects you. It says, you are not killing time. Time is killing you.
Wow. Okay.
It completely reframes the act of procrastination. It's no longer a passive indulgence. It's an active, self-destructive choice.
The implication of that is massive. If time equals life, which, physically it does.
It does.
Then treating time as disposable means you are functionally treating your life as disposable.
Exactly. We act as if we have this endless supply of Tuesdays. We just forget that we are finite resources.
And the lessons get into the destructive cost of that in painful detail. It's about those wasted moments.
In painful granularity, yeah. Think about it. Every single time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, you are sacrificing a piece of your current self for a hypothetical future self.
A future self who might not even exist.
Who may not exist, and who, even if they do, will have less energy and more resistance to starting.
It's the small things, too. Every snooze button hit, every hour lost to just, endless, purposeless scrolling.
These are not neutral activities. The source is adamant about this. You are systematically destroying pieces of your limited existence with every one of those choices.
And the cost isn't just lost productivity today. That's the key. It's the compounding effect.
Oh, absolutely. It's the compound interest on regret.
That's it. The material warns of waking up later, maybe in your 40s or 50s, and having this sudden, horrifying realization.
That you're older, your energy's going down, and those huge, profound dreams you had in your 20s.
They're just sitting there, still waiting, indefinitely.
And the psychological toll of that perpetual delay of living that life, it drains more energy than actually doing the hard work in the first place.
So what's the solution? How do you combat this sort of passive self-destruction?
The solution it offers is very tactical. First, you have to start valuing your hours like they're gold. Literally, you have to assign a perceived value to your time.
Okay, so it's a mental exercise.
It is. And second, you write down a daily plan. But not a huge to-do list. It's focused primarily on just one thing. One thing that pushes your life forward today.
And then there's the most tangible instruction, the one you can start right now.
The 1 hour challenge?
Right. Cut 1 hour of social media, daily and dedicate that exact 60 minutes to reading, learning, or growth.
And that 1 hour shift is such a crucial first step.
Why that specifically? Why 1 hour?
Because it's a test of willpower, but it has a low barrier to entry.
That makes sense.
And it has a high psychological return. You're not asking yourself to, run a marathon on day one. You're just asking for 60 minutes.
You're trading a bad habit for a good one.
A high consumption, low return habit for a high creation, high return habit. That simple act of substitution immediately signals to your brain that you are taking control.
You're moving from a consumer to a producer.
Exactly. It's an immediate, actionable metric that proves to yourself that you are serious about changing.
And that clarity, that commitment, it's immediately connected to action. Some of the later lessons, I'm thinking of lessons 13 and 15, which bring in this idea of the ticking clock.
Yes, and the message there is it's completely unforgiving.
How so?
The clock is ticking, and it simply does not care about your emotional state. It doesn't care if you're feeling unready or confused or scared.
Or if you're waiting for the stars to align.
It doesn't care. Life is running, momentum is active, and every lost second is gone forever. This is just reality. And accepting this reality is the first step toward reclaiming your power.
This connects directly to the analysis of that lie we tell ourselves, the "I'll do it later" lie.
Which the material calls the most insidious form of self-sabotage.
So if you're constantly putting off starting to exercise or learning a skill or launching that project, what are you actually achieving?
You are allowing the voice of laziness and fear to veto your highest ambitions. That's it. Functionally, "I'll do it later" is just a polite, socially acceptable way of saying, I don't want to do it at all.
It's a strategy.
It's a strategy designed by your weaker, comfort-seeking self to just maintain the status quo. And the most dangerous part of it is the trap of waiting for the perfect time.
Because there is never a perfect time.
Ever. Precisely. Life is always messy. You're waiting for this ideal alignment, when the kids are older, when you have more money, when you feel less stressed.
Your mind will always find a reason to delay.
Always. Because the brain is fundamentally wired for energy conservation. Starting something new is hard. It takes energy. So the brain invents excuses to stay comfortable.
And in the meantime, waiting just allows your goals to fade. They turn into these abstract concepts.
Dust, that's the word the source uses. They turn into dust instead of concrete, moving projects. We often wait for motivation to strike.
Right, like lightning.
But the insight here is that motivation is not a prerequisite for action. Action is a prerequisite for motivation.
That feels like a crucial point. Can you unpack the neuroscience behind that?
Sure. We wait for the emotional feeling of motivation, but truly successful people know that consistent action is what generates the necessary chemical feedback loop in your brain.
So action creates the feeling, not the other way around.
Exactly. When you perform a small action, you achieve a small success. This releases a small hit of dopamine. That small reward reinforces the behavior and makes you feel slightly more motivated to take the next small step.
Whereas if you wait for the feeling,
you might wait forever. But if you take the action, the feeling follows. It's a system you build, not a mood you wait for.
And the result of not building that system, of constant delay, is described so vividly. They call it the pain of regret.
And the source is brutal here. It calls regret the worst pain in this world.
A sharp knife in the chest.
It's the inevitable outcome of acting like you have forever. It's that moment, years down the road, when you realize you optimized for short-term comfort instead of long-term growth.
And the only solution offered to combat this is radical, immediate action.
It's a simple, powerful psychological hack. Set a 10-minute timer and start the task now.
That's fascinating. Why 10 minutes specifically? What's the mechanism there?
The 10-minute rule is a classic commitment device. It's designed to bypass the fear centers of the brain, the amygdala, which often associates big tasks with potential failure and stress.
So a big task like write a book is overwhelming.
Completely. It triggers massive resistance.
Yeah.
But 10 minutes.
Anyone can do 10 minutes.
Anyway, it feels psychologically safe. You're not committing to finishing the book. You're only committing to the start.
And once you're 10 minutes in,
momentum takes over. You've already invested time and energy, making it statistically much, much easier to continue for another 10 minutes or an hour than it was to get started at all.
So you're basically tricking your brain into starting that chemical feedback loop we talked about.
You are. One imperfect action now is infinitely better than 100 perfect plans for later. The instruction is simply to begin. Just begin, knowing that starting is 80% of the battle.
So if that first part was about the external enemy, which is time, it seems like part 2 is all about the internal enemies.
Exactly. The excuses, the comfort, the cognitive patterns that keep us stuck. And this has to begin with lesson 2, which is the foundational principle. Stop blaming and start building.
This is that core tenet of radical accountability. And it can be really difficult for a lot of people to swallow.
It's a tough one. The source states it so bluntly: your life is your responsibility.
Not your parents, not your friends, not the government's.
Yours, only yours. The blame game, as it's called, is the psychological mechanism people use to protect themselves.
Protect themselves from what?
From having to try and potentially fail. They waste years, decades even, constructing these intricate narratives, listing all the excuses.
I didn't go to a good school. My family didn't have money. I don't have the right connections or the talent.
And the source just dismisses all of those. It sees them as sophisticated avoidance strategies that serve only to justify your inertia.
But the mindset of the people who build extraordinary lives, the winner's mindset, is different.
Completely. It's the person who decides, I acknowledge the cards I was dealt, but I refuse to play a losing hand. I will create something from nothing.
It's an act of profound self-reliance. Defiance, even.
It is. And this is where the specific example of Oprah Winfrey is so powerful. Her story isn't just a success story. It's a case study in converting immense adversity into fuel.
I mean, born in deep poverty, facing horrific abuse, battling tremendous societal obstacles.
She'd had every conceivable reason to stay stuck, every reason to blame her circumstances and remain a victim for the rest of her life.
And yet, she became a media mogul, a billionaire, a global cultural force.
And the analysis is that she did not sit and cry. She used her reality, her pain, her struggle as undeniable fuel. She refused to let her circumstances define her potential.
And that's a crucial distinction, isn't it? Recognizing hardship is one thing.
But identifying as a victim is a choice. The disciplined mindset accepts the past, but chooses the future. The source says you have to accept your story, acknowledge where you came from, but absolutely refuse to be trapped by it.
And the mechanism for doing that, for transitioning from blame to action, is very specific.
It's a pen and paper exercise. Write down your current problems, get them out of your head and onto the paper, externalize them.
And then?
Then you write one tangible solution for each problem. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it won't be. Just one small, imperfect step. And the final step is immediate action.
That's the difference between just diagnosing a problem and actually starting to treat it.
Precisely. And that active construction, that building process, requires stepping out of what Lesson 3 calls the comfort zone trap.
Which is described in these terrifyingly subtle terms. Dying slowly.
Dying slowly. It's that safe, easy routine that kills you silently from the inside.
The routine of passive consumption. You wake up, check your phone, scroll, eat, scroll some more, go to sleep.
And it feels safe. It feels safe because it eliminates risk. But the lesson is so clear. There is no growth in comfort. All success lives outside of it.
Growth demands friction. It demands vulnerability.
Of course. If your goal is to be fluent in a new language, you have to actually speak it, even if you sound foolish and make 100 mistakes.
And if your goal is entrepreneurial success, you have to launch the product, knowing you might fail 10 times and face public embarrassment.
Comfort is the illusion of safety, but it actually carries the maximum long-term risk.
The risk of an unfulfilled life.
Exactly. The risk of getting to the end and realizing you never even tried.
The analogy of the seed they use here is perfect for this.
It really is. If the seed remains safely inside its husk, underground, it never becomes a tree. It's safe, but it's stagnant.
To grow, it has to break through the soil, face the harsh sun, the wind, the rain. It has to risk the elements to evolve. And the listener is that seed.
Therefore, the mandate is simple, if not easy. Do something uncomfortable every single day.
Make the call, speak the language, apply for the job.
Post the content. And critically, you have to learn to embrace failure. Fail proudly and fail forward. The source insists that nothing great was ever born from a place of total safety.
And that fear of discomfort, that fear of failure, it often leads directly to overanalysis.
Which is lesson 5. Stop thinking, start doing. The mind, which is supposed to be our greatest asset, can become a cage.
How does it become a cage?
It becomes a cage because people prioritize intellectual activity over physical movement. They spend months thinking about the business, perfecting the routine, meticulously planning.
But they never actually start the engine.
Never. And they become emotionally exhausted and tired before they've even performed a single physical action. They imagine the failure so vividly that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It makes the attempt feel unnecessary because you've already failed in your head.
Right. And this process of thinking for too long inevitably transforms into fear. And the source's label for fear is just so succinct. Fear is a liar.
If your mind is giving you a list of reasons why you can't start, those reasons are usually just attempts to keep you safe and comfortable. They aren't based on reality.
Not at all. And the analogy of the person wanting to learn how to swim is perfect here.
Right. They read the books, watch 50 videos, buy the perfect swimsuit.
Memorize the physics of buoyancy, but they never, ever jump in the water.
They will never learn.
Because learning is fundamentally experiential. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, and paralysis by analysis prevents that crucial experience.
So the solution is all about building momentum.
All about it. And the instruction is specific. Think for 10 minutes, then commit to acting for the next 10 hours. Shut down that inner critic and just let your hands and feet move.
Success doesn't come from planning the perfect route.
No, it comes from moving down the actual imperfect road and learning and adjusting as you go.
Okay, so we've covered time, we've covered mindset. Now we shift to what feels like the most intimate conflict.
The war within. The internal battle required to actually become this successful person.
Right. If you've accepted responsibility and you've faced discomfort, you now have to fight the real enemy, which Lesson 7 identifies as you versus you.
And this is such a radical concept of self-sabotage. It suggests that your most formidable obstacles are internal.
Your biggest enemy isn't external. It's not the economy or your competition or even your phone.
No, it's that internal part of you, the part that tells you to quit, that whispers, I'm tired, or that just accepts average is good enough.
This is the real daily battle.
Every single day. It's the lazy you versus the ambitious you. The scared you versus the brave you, the sleepy, comfort-seeking you versus the hungry, growth-oriented you.
Every morning you wake up and you have to consciously choose which version of yourself wins that day.
You do. And the famous analogy of the two wolves is used to great effect here.
I know this one. One wolf is lazy, negative, doubtful.
And the other is strong, confident, and relentlessly hungry for growth. And the one that grows stronger is the one you feed.
That simple framework makes every single micro choice you make during the day immediately consequential.
It does. Are you going to feed the wolf that scrolls mindlessly or the wolf that reads and builds?
And to win this war, the Thorse advises a very tactical approach.
You have to kill lazy habits one by one. You track your day and you consciously celebrate every small victory you achieve against that weak version of yourself.
The celebration is key.
It is. Because that's what changes your identity. You are actively signaling to your brain that this new disciplined person is the one in charge now.
And winning those daily battles builds what Lesson 8 is all about, your willpower muscle.
Right. And the source is absolutely firm on the danger of relying on your emotional state. It says if you don't train your willpower, your feelings will control your entire life.
And we're warned repeatedly.
Feelings are liars. They tell you don't feel like working out or studying late or waking up early.
And if you listen to those fleeting emotional states, you've basically handed over the steering wheel of your life.
Completely. Your success becomes entirely subject to whether you woke up feeling good or bad that day.
So willpower is defined as this rigorous commitment to doing the right thing, the necessary thing, even when you feel terrible.
Even when you're completely resistant, it's standing up when every fiber of your body is screaming no and having your soul quietly say, watch me.
This creates that critical distinction between motivation and discipline.
Which is everything. Successful people are not always motivated. That's a myth. They are disciplined.
And discipline means showing up.
Showing up when you are tired, broke, heartbroken, scared, or defeated. Discipline is the habit of consistency that operates completely independently of your emotional context.
And the training of this muscle, it's iterative, right?
It's specific and iterative. If you want to conquer a bad habit, say stopping phone use after 10 p.m., you're going to fail at first. But the persistence of the attempt is the training. You turn it off, you put it away, you write down why you failed yesterday, and you try again today. Those constant attempts build the power until you, the disciplined identity, are controlling the habit, not the other way around.
The internal struggle isn't just about laziness, though. It's also about misdirection.
Which is covered so well in Lesson 9. Comparison is killing you.
And this is an extremely relevant lesson in the world we live in. hyper-connected, always on.
It's arguably the fastest, most effective way to destroy your own progress and happiness at the same time.
You spend all your time observing and consuming other people's perceived lives instead of focusing on building your own.
And it creates this self-hating loop of inadequacy. The material specifically calls out the social media trap. You are comparing your 24 hours of reality, your raw struggle, your messy behind the scenes,
Your failures.
with their highlight reel. A carefully curated 15 seconds of perceived perfection or wealth or success. You're comparing two completely different orders of reality.
And the cost of that comparison is you become blind to what you don't see.
You don't see their breakdowns, their crippling debt, their deep pain, their loneliness, the 1,000 times they fell and were rejected before that one perfect 15-second shot.
The analogy of the sunflower and the rose is really profound here.
It is, because it applies to our unique talents and paths. If a sunflower and a rose pause to compare their height or color or their blooming cycle, they both forget their own unique beauty and their essential purpose.
So the focus has to be entirely on your growth metrics.
Your metrics, your trajectory. The solution is highly practical. Unfollow people who consistently make you feel inadequate. Stop measuring your progress against someone else's current peak.
And instead, measure your growth from where you were last month.
Exactly. The goal is to replace comparison with inspiration. Learn from others without hating yourself for not being them right now.
This self-reinforcement, then, it leads perfectly into the lessons on creating and embodying this new identity.
Yes, lesson 6, which demands that you be that person.
And the expectation is crystal clear. You are not the person who complains or gives up anymore. You are the one who does what other people don't.
The one who wakes up early when others sleep. The one who studies when others party. You have to become the person who inspires without having to say a single word about your mission.
Your actions become your resume.
And this identity shift fundamentally requires you to ignore external validation. Not everyone is going to support you.
In fact, many people will resent your change.
They will, because it shines a light on their own lack of action. So you must support and believe in yourself, absolutely. When people say, you've changed, you should take it as a compliment.
You're not here to stay the same. You're here to grow.
Right. And lesson 16 takes this idea of change to the absolute extreme. It addresses that fundamental dissatisfaction of living a life that just feels fake.
Performative,
exactly. If the life you're living feels hollow or unauthentic, the instruction is metaphorical but clear. Burn it down and start again.
That is a powerful call to self-reconstruction.
It is. The source affirms that you are not stuck. You are not a victim of your circumstances in this present moment. You are an artist, and your life is your canvas.
And if the current painting is poor, you destroy it and start with a blank slate. You change your habits, your friends, your environment.
And the practical daily exercise for this shift is a profound prompt. You ask yourself every single morning, what would a disciplined person do today?
And then, regardless of how you feel, you do that.
You execute that plan. The goal is simple. Don't tell people your plans. Show them your results. Results are the only proof of the new identity.
Okay, so as this new disciplined identity starts to interact with the world, it needs, what, some kind of protective filter?
Exactly. And moving into part 4, that's what we analyze, starting with lesson 10. Choose your advisors wisely.
This is a lesson in critical discernment. I mean, the world, especially the internet, is just full of noise.
Words disconnected from experience, opinions devoid of any pain or struggle. And the qualification test for whose advice you should take is ruthless but necessary.
Don't take advice from people who haven't demonstrably achieved what you want to achieve.
That's it. If you want to achieve financial independence, your broke friend's opinion on your business plan is irrelevant, no matter how much you love them.
It's not personal, it's strategic.
Completely. If you want to build a house, you don't ask the man who lives under a broken roof for structural advice. People constantly let themselves be paralyzed by the fear-based opinions of people who have never walked the path.
And often it's because those people are close to them or just loud.
Right. And the example provided in the source highlights this perfectly. The well-meaning relative, the uncle, who advises against starting a business because it's too risky.
But that person has only ever worked a safe, linear 9-to-5 job their whole life.
Exactly. Their advice is based entirely on their own internal limitations and their personal fear of loss, not on any genuine market experience.
And that fear-based advice, it's often cloaked as wisdom, but it's just poison to ambition.
It is. So the solution is a direct filter you have to apply to every piece of advice. Has this person achieved what I want? If the answer is no, you protect your vision, you thank them for their concern, and you move on.
The stakes are just too high.
One wrong piece of advice taken from an unqualified source can delay a dream by 10 years or more.
So after you filter out that external noise, the next lessons tackle agency and risk. Lesson 11 is this empowering mandate to pick yourself.
And it asserts a really harsh reality. The world will not pick you. It will not clap for you until it's already too late.
Until you're already successful.
Right. They won't believe in you until you've already won. Therefore, waiting for permission or for a lucky break or for someone else to grant you an opportunity is a fool's game.
Successful people didn't wait to be chosen. They started.
They approved themselves, they created the job, wrote the book, started the service, launched the channel. This is the difference between being a passive applicant and an active architect of your own future.
J.K. Rowling is the example they use here.
A perfect one. She was rejected 12 times by publishers. Imagine if she had taken that 12th rejection as a final verdict from an established authority.
The world would have missed a monumental cultural phenomenon.
She picked herself. She kept refining the idea, and the world eventually followed her lead.
So the solution is immediate self-affirmation. Start the project, write the book, apply for the job even if you're nervous.
You have to affirm it daily. I don't need anyone to kick me. I pick myself, and I start now.
And this act of self-selection, it leads directly into lesson 12, no risk, no story.
And the core message here is that greatness requires risk. It requires financial, emotional, temporal, and reputational risk. You cannot build a legendary, meaningful life by playing it safe.
And the consequence of playing it safe is framed as a kind of quiet death.
A life that is silent, predictable, safe, and ultimately empty. At the end of that life, no one will remember how safely you played it. They will only remember what you dared to do and what you built.
The material pushes you to have scars, not regrets.
It does. And we have to shift our internal calculation about risk. When you're faced with a scary decision, the disciplined person asks, what's the worst that could happen?
But then immediately follows it up
with the essential, more powerful question, what if it actually works? What if I succeed beyond my wildest expectations? Choosing that latter outcome as your goal is what forces you into action.
And often the pressure to avoid that risk comes from external sources, which Lesson 17 explores as escaping the prison of expectations.
Yes. Living to fulfill your family's or society's expectations, living inside that box they define for you, is described as a spirit killer.
It forces you into this state of deep personal contradiction.
Where you smile in public, playing the role you're expected to play, but you cry in private because you hate the person you've become. You're a prisoner in your own body.
And the commitment has to be that you were born to chase your dream, your unique individual dream, not someone else's idea of stability or success.
And that pursuit will require you to say no. It will mean disappointing people you love, and it might mean walking alone for a significant period of time.
The example of the smart friend, Nick, illustrates the tragedy here.
It does. He has talent, he has big dreams, but he's stuck in a high-paying but deeply hated 9-to-5 corporate job. Why? Because it satisfies his family and meets society's definition of making it.
His life is professionally successful, but personally void of meaning.
Exactly. So the solution is a radical commitment to self-liberation. You have to break the chains, drop the mask, and stop living for others' approval. This life belongs to you, and only you are accountable for its outcome.
And when you commit to that life of freedom and discipline, you are inevitably going to encounter intense pain.
Which brings us to Lesson 18, which demands that you recognize this pain as your power.
Everyone has internal pain. Betrayal, failure, rejection, silent suffering.
Right.
And the material presents this pain as raw energy.
Right. And that energy can either destroy you and make you retreat, or it can build you into something exponentially tougher. You get to choose its function.
The strongest individuals don't run from their pain.
No, they use it as fuel. They use suffering to make themselves mentally tougher. They use heartbreak to reinforce self-respect and set better boundaries. They use failure to teach them necessary lessons for growth.
You have to stop being ashamed of your struggle and start using it.
It's the ultimate rebuild. You're not broken. You're just being rigorously rebuilt into something powerful, tempered by fire. The source gives a powerful reminder here. The darkest nights are a necessary condition for producing the brightest stars.
And to channel all that pain and power effectively, you have to master focus.
Which is the subject of Lesson 19. Starve your distractions, feed your focus. And this brings us back to the battle of the two wolves.
The two wolves in this context are distraction and focus.
Right. Every minute you scroll, every piece of gossip you consume, every episode you binge watch, you are actively feeding the distraction wolf.
And that passive activity makes your brain lazy. It allows your dreams to become weaker and more distant.
Because focus is not a natural state. It is a highly trained muscle. It requires conscious daily effort to create boundaries and isolate yourself from all the noise.
And the source gives a specific mathematical guarantee about the outcome of training this muscle.
It does. 365 days of relentless, pure effort and focus will radically, fundamentally change your life. This isn't magic or luck, it's mathematics. It's the compounded result of disciplined effort over time.
So the solution is almost warlike.
Starve the destruction wolf, turn off the phone, cut toxic people, set physical and mental boundaries like a warrior protecting his camp.
And feed the focus wolf.
Read, work, learn, build. Relentlessly pursue the goal you identified that morning.
Finally, the material delivers the ultimate reality check in Lesson 20. Life owes you nothing.
This is the raw truth that frees you from any sense of entitlement or victimhood.
The market, the world, life itself doesn't care about your good intentions or your potential.
It rewards performance. Full stop. Stop expecting life to be easy or fair or accommodating. The material instructs you to stop crying for help and start fighting like hell to take everything you deserve.
You have to earn the crown with blood, sweat, and obsession.
And this harsh mandate is supported by the paradox in Lesson 14. Nobody cares.
And why that's liberating.
Exactly. Nobody cares about your problems. Nobody is coming to save you. People are too overwhelmed and busy fighting their own battles to notice or intervene in yours.
And that realization sounds depressing at first, but it is actually the ultimate liberation.
It is. If nobody cares, you are free. You are free to fail spectacularly, to look stupid, to experiment, and to rise again without needing approval or permission from anyone.
You build your life in the shadows like nobody's watching.
Because genuinely, they are not. They are focused entirely on their own struggle, which means your fight is yours alone to win.
Wow. This has been a relentless analysis of radical self-discipline.
It has. And it's important we acknowledge the reality of the struggle. I mean, maybe you're listening to this right now, and that commitment just feels too heavy.
Maybe your money is low, your mind is tired, your health is fading.
And you genuinely feel like you failed again and again. That pain, that feeling of being defeated is real.
But the source material, even with all its severity, it offers a crucial reassurance.
It does. It says everything will be okay.
And this isn't based on empty platitudes or that fake hope it warned about.
No, it's based on the certainty of seeing countless others who walked through that same fire and darkness and who rose from the ashes because they simply refused to quit.
There's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
That tunnel might be long and dark and filled with struggle, but your only mandate is that you cannot stop walking. Your worst days are not the end of your story.
They are the necessary beginning of a stronger, smarter, more powerful version of you.
So the forward path requires immediate action. If you don't have a burning dream yet, you have to stop everything and find one.
You don't need a 10-year business plan.
No, you just need a mission that makes you feel alive. A reason to leap out of bed, something worth fighting for.
And once that mission is secured,
the final mandate is comprehensive. Learn every day, grow consistently, work harder than everyone else around you, and be utterly obsessed with discipline and your chosen mission.
Stop wasting mental energy on what's wrong with the world or what you lack.
And focus entirely on the immense, untapped power that is right inside you.
And so here's the final provocative thought to carry with you as you step back into your day.
You think you're weak? You think you're chronically behind? Or you think, incorrectly, that it's too late for you?
The liberating, terrifying truth you must internalize is that you have no idea, absolutely no idea, what you're actually capable of.
You are not just a human being. You are a storm waiting to rise. Pick up your heart, fix your posture, and start walking toward the life you deserve. Because your greatness is waiting, and your job is to claim it now.
Welcome to this deep dive.
Woo!
Now, if you were looking for a gentle, encouraging pat on the back, you might have clicked on the wrong link today.
I think that's a fair warning.
Our material is fiercely foundational. It's a challenging, kind of raw look at the core principles of personal accountability and, true hard-won achievement.
Mm-hmm.
We are moving far beyond that temporary high of just simple motivation and diving into what it really takes to build a completely new, resilient architecture for your life.
That's absolutely right. The listener who shared this, they gave us the latter half of a comprehensive guide, and it covers, 16 powerful lessons on self-mastery?
Right, on personal responsibility and achievement.
Exactly. And this isn't just about what to do, a simple checklist. It's about understanding the internal physics of success.
The why.
The why. Our mission today is, I think, pretty critical to synthesize these demanding concepts. I mean, from rigorously auditing your social circle and your time to mastering your own self-talk and then extract a practical framework that you can apply.
So you can actually use it.
So you can use it. We really need to identify the profound why behind all these principles, because transformation, it requires both radical internal restructuring and very proactive external environment management.
We're exploring the deep infrastructure, how truly successful people structure their external world, and maybe even more importantly, the machinery of their internal mind.
Yes.
The lessons, they seem to group naturally around these crucial themes. Environment is your destiny. Consistent action is the only metric that matters. Strategic personal investment. And then the ultimate reward, which is internal peace. This material is really designed to push you out of complacency. It requires difficult questions and, honestly, even harder answers. Okay, let's unpack this dense package of insights, starting with the inputs that dictate our destiny. So the essential first step in this guide to ownership, is a hard realization.
It's a really hard one. It's the fact that you are not operating in a vacuum. I mean, every moment of every day, you're constantly being molded, influenced, shaped by everything that surrounds you.
And lesson 21, it just lays it out there. It's a challenging gauntlet. Your environment is your future.
That is perhaps the most difficult statement in the whole guide. I think it immediately makes people uncomfortable.
It does, because the source makes a very specific and, frankly, a controversial claim. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
And the immediate instinct is defense.
Of course. You want to defend your circle, your friends, your family. But the material, it just insists on brutal honesty here.
It has to. It demands that honesty because the stakes are your entire future. The source is entirely clear about what it calls the negative drag.
The negative drag. What does that mean exactly?
If your closest associates, the people you share meals with, the voices you hear most often, if they're lazy, if they're constantly engaging in gossip and criticism, or just fundamentally lack ambition,
It's going to pull you down.
you will inevitably see your own standards and your ambition get eroded. It's not presented as a moral judgment, it's just social physics.
Like gravity.
Exactly. Low standards are infectious and they pull everything down to their level. You simply cannot maintain a high frequency of thought and action if you are constantly submerged in a low frequency environment.
That's where the source outlines this terrifyingly simple structure, the chain of influence.
Right.
It states that your environment shapes your thoughts, and then your thoughts shape your actions, and at the end of the day, your actions shape your entire life.
If you're serious about changing the output, your results, you have no choice but to change the input.
Your environment.
Your environment. If the inputs are low grade, the resulting life structure is, it's guaranteed to be weak.
To make this truth really inescapable, the guide uses this plant analogy.
Yeah.
It's simple, but it's really accurate.
It is. Imagine a healthy plant, just full of potential. If you place that plant in a dark closet, deprive it of nutrients, give it no water, what happens?
It withers. It dies.
It doesn't just fail to thrive. It actively dies. Now take that exact same plant and put it in the sunlight with rich soil. It flourishes.
The plant didn't change.
Its potential didn't change, but its outcome did, entirely based on the environment. And the source says, you, the listener, you are the plant. Your social circle, your home, your workplace, that is your soil and your sunlight.
Okay, so here's where I need to press on the difficulty of this, because this sounds easy in theory, right?
Sure.
But what happens when that dark room contains people we genuinely love? Childhood friends, family members, maybe even a long-term partner who is just stuck or draining.
And the material acknowledges that. It's a complex reality. It's not simple. It notes that loving someone doesn't mean you have to allow their negativity or their lack of drive to destroy your trajectory.
So love doesn't mean mutual destruction.
That is the pivotal and often painful application insight. You can and you should still love them. But if their energy is persistently corrosive, you must establish an emotional and maybe even a physical distance.
To protect your mission.
To protect your mission. This isn't about being cruel. It's about self-preservation. You cannot let their inertia become your destiny. The guide doesn't suggest wholesale abandonment. It suggests establishing robust protective boundaries. So the actionable takeaway is immediate and it's difficult. Conduct a rigorous audit of your top 5 closest people.
Ask the hard question.
Are they challenging you to grow, or are they, contentedly keeping you stuck in old, comfortable patterns?
And the proactive side of this is just as important as the protective side, right? It's not just about removing negativity.
Exactly. The solution isn't just creating a vacuum. It's about actively changing your inputs. If you can't immediately find high-achieving peers, start consuming their ideas. Read books by successful people. Spend your commute listening to positive educational content. You change your environment by changing the conversations and the information you allow into your mind. You have to treat high-quality input as the necessary fertilizer for your mind.
That proactive input management leads us perfectly into the next lesson, doesn't it? Lesson 28.
It does. We move from who you allow into your life to how you fiercely manage your most finite resource.
Time.
The economics of time, learning to say no.
This is a universal truth that I think far too many people just ignore. The guide insists your time is your single most valuable asset.
More valuable than money.
Way more. Because you can always earn more money, but you can never get back time.
And the painful implication of that is this. Every single time you say yes to something unimportant or irrelevant or just low leverage,
you are simultaneously and definitively saying no to your most important goals, to your dreams, to your future.
The consequences of having poor boundaries here are insidious. People often say yes out of a misplaced sense of obligation or maybe a fear of confrontation.
Or just not wanting to disappoint people.
Right. And saying yes to every request, every invitation, every demand, it just ensures you have no time or energy left for your own deep work. You literally exhaust yourself building everyone else's dreams.
And the guide demands you stop being a supporting character in other people's lives.
And start being the lead character in your own.
I think we need to linger on the expert anecdote here because it's so stark.
Warren Buffett.
Yeah, the principle is almost brutally simple in its focus. The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything.
And he's not saying no to bad things. That's the key. He's saying no to good things that just aren't the best things for his focus.
That level of protective, singular focus is what differentiates the truly successful.
That's the application insight. Highly successful people are not just busy, they are masters of saying no. Their calendar is like a fortress, and every minute is accounted for and aligned with their highest priorities.
So before you commit to anything, the guide says you have to ask 2 screening questions.
1, does this materially help me reach my long-term goals? And 2, is this genuinely the single best use of my time right now?
And if you can't say a resounding yes to both.
The default answer must be a polite but very firm no.
The hurdle for the listener, though, is the emotional difficulty. How do we navigate that guilt that comes with saying no to friends or family or even work obligations that feel urgent but really aren't important?
And the source makes it clear that this is a skill. It's not some inherent trait you're born with. You have to practice.
So what's the takeaway? How do you practice?
Start small. This week. Identify one request, a draining favor, a meeting that could have been an email, a party you feel obligated to attend, and just practice saying no. Politely, but firmly.
And the crucial detail the source provides is that you don't need to over-explain or apologize.
None. Simply stating, I can't commit to that right now, is sufficient. Your time is sovereign. You owe no one an explanation for prioritizing your future.
Okay, so we've protected the clock. Now, what do we fill that newly freed space with? That pivots us beautifully into lesson 38.
Creating more than you consume.
This is the distinction between passive activity and active achievement.
And the core concept is, well, it's undeniable. All genuine success, all wealth, all impact, it comes from active creation. Consumption is inherently passive.
So if your default mode is just to consume, scrolling through videos, social media feeds, news articles, you are fundamentally stunting your own growth.
Because you are only taking in. You're never contributing or applying or synthesizing that information into something new.
This defines what the source calls the fundamental creator-consumer divide. It dictates who drives the world forward.
Think about it. The people we admire, entrepreneurs, writers, leaders, innovators, they are all creators. They actively put things into the world. They lead the culture, they solve the problems, and they capture the value.
While consumers, conversely, are just passively waiting for the next thing to entertain them or inform them or distract them.
They are always reacting, never initiating.
And the growth mechanism here is vital for the listener to understand, right?
Absolutely. The act of creation itself transforms you internally. When you create, you are forced to confront the gaps in your knowledge.
You see what you don't know.
You build skills under pressure, you refine your ideas. This process builds competence and confidence exponentially faster than just taking in more information.
So even if the output is unseen or if it's poor quality at first.
It doesn't matter. You can't refine an idea you haven't put down on paper. You have to produce something, anything, just to start that improvement cycle.
It's the difference between reading a book on carpentry and actually trying to build a shaky shelf.
The shelf builder learns infinitely faster, even if the shelf collapses.
So structurally, how do we implement this shift? What's the actionable part?
The actionable takeaway is to impose a structural creation schedule on yourself. The guide suggests a powerful ratio. For every hour of passive consumption entertainment, non-essential scrolling, spend at least 30 minutes actively creating.
And that could be anything.
Anything. Journaling your thoughts, writing a business plan, practicing an instrument, building a software model. The world doesn't need more people scrolling. It needs more people building, producing, and leading.
That sets us up for the final piece of this external audit, which is lesson 25. And this one focuses on emotional independence.
The emptiness of external validation.
This concept, it really speaks to the soul.
It does. The core idea is that seeking approval or validation from others, whether it's posting meticulously crafted content for likes or buying unaffordable status symbols to look successful, is a bottomless pit.
Why?
Because it leads to feeling perpetually empty, fake, and lost. Your sense of self-worth becomes entirely outsourced to volatile external factors you can't control.
The guide uses an analogy that really sticks with you.
External validation is like drinking salt water. The more you drink, the thirstier you get. You will never, ever receive enough approval to feel truly satisfied because happiness dictated by others is constantly shifting, conditional, and ultimately outside of your control.
So the required shift is radical.
It is. The only approval that truly matters is the one you grant yourself. The critical daily question has to be internal. Can I look in the mirror tonight and be genuinely proud of who I am, the integrity I maintained, and the focused work I put in today?
Right, but that answer is yes.
Then all the outside noise is rendered irrelevant.
The history of world changers supports this, doesn't it? The ones who achieve true, lasting impact in art, science, business, they stopped caring what the world, especially their critics, thought of them.
They had to. They followed their own intensely personal path and trusted their own vision. They understood that criticism is just noise, irrelevant to their trajectory.
So the actual takeaway is to establish this internal metric.
Be intentional. Do things because you genuinely want to and because they align with your internal values. Chase the dreams that make your heart beat faster, not the ones that get the most likes on a feed. Self-validation isn't just a key to mental freedom, it's the prerequisite for authenticity.
Okay, so we've built the fortress around the self by managing inputs and time. Now we move inward to the hardest part.
The internal architecture.
The internal architecture required to withstand the inevitable storms of achievement. And we're starting with lesson 23. Failure is your teacher.
This is a fundamental paradigm correction. In school, failure is bad, it's an F, it's the end. In the real world, the source argues, failure is not the opposite of success. It is a critical, essential, non-negotiable part of success.
And the tragedy is that so many people quit prematurely.
They do. They equate a mistake or a rejection with an inherent flaw in themselves. They mistakenly believe that failure means they're not good enough to try again.
We have to anchor ourselves to historical reality here. Achievement is not a straight line. It's built on a mountain of strategic, discarded attempts.
Let's look at the giants the source points to. Thomas Edison. He didn't fail 10,000 times before inventing the light bulb.
No, he said he meticulously documented 10,000 ways that won't work.
He reframed every negative result instantly as progress, as gained knowledge. That's a huge mental hurdle to clear for most people.
And this pattern isn't just in science. Look at art and commerce.
Walt Disney, fired from a Missouri newspaper because his editor claimed he lacked imagination.
Which is just unbelievable in hindsight.
Or Steve Jobs, the ultimate visionary, famously kicked out of the very company he co-founded. J.K. Rowling, while broke and on welfare, faced rejection from 12 separate publishers.
These weren't minor setbacks. These were colossal public failures.
And yet the guide insists they were simply the necessary tuition fees for their eventual success.
The guide redefines success in light of this. It says success is not measured by the absence of falling down.
It's measured by the absolute certainty of how many times you get back up. Failure is simply raw data. It's a learning lesson that makes you stronger, wiser, and better prepared for the next, more informed attempt.
The actionable takeaway here requires not just a mental shift, but a structural one.
Yes, you have to externalize the lesson. The recommendation is to start a failure journal.
What does that entail?
Don't just brood on your mistakes. Formally document them. Write down the specific action you took, the result you got, and most importantly, the specific measurable lesson you learned from it.
So it shifts the internal narrative from, I am flawed,
to, I gained valuable intelligence. And you have to commit to failing forward, fast, and often.
That concept of endurance, of getting back up, leads us directly to Lesson 31. This is about tackling the necessary pain of growth.
Embracing the forge, or the struggle.
This is perhaps the most difficult mindset shift required in the whole guide.
It is, because the core concept demands a complete reevaluation of adversity, it says. The struggle you are currently facing is not trying to break you. Its sole purpose is to build you.
It's borrowing from metallurgy and physics here.
Right. It's the resistance principle applied to life. You cannot build genuine physical muscle without resistance, the struggle of lifting heavy weights. You certainly cannot build character, resilience, or true success without facing difficult, often painful challenges.
The easy path is comfortable.
But it produces weakness. The hard, high-resistance path produces warriors, thinkers, and leaders.
And we have to acknowledge the universal story of achievement behind every perceived overnight success.
There's usually a hidden history of immense pain, consistent rejection, and exhausting comebacks. Success often boils down to pure endurance and resilience, who can withstand the difficulty and struggle longer when everyone else has thrown in the towel.
That reframes the central question we ask ourselves during hard times.
Yes. The guide tells us to stop asking the passive, helpless question, why is this terrible thing happening to me?
And immediately pivot to the empowering, proactive question.
What is this preparing me for? What unique strength or insight am I forging right now that I wouldn't gain otherwise?
So the actionable takeaway has to be immediate when adversity strikes.
It does. The guide recommends physically writing down the question, how is this experience specifically making me stronger? Don't seek shortcuts or run away from hard times. You have to run through them.
And recognize them as the necessary training ground.
The training ground for the successful future self you are trying to create.
Now we enter the mind control segment, beginning with Lesson 24, which addresses our internal dialogue.
Your words create your reality.
The source material is adamant that this is more than just motivational fluff.
It's not. The words you consistently speak, both to yourself and to others, they act as literal commands to your neurological system. They fundamentally shape your expected reality. It's like programming your internal computer.
And the danger of persistent negative programming can't be overstated.
No. Constantly repeating limiting phrases like, I'm so stupid, I'll never succeed, I'm not good at this, or I can't do this. It programs your brain to actively create and uphold those limitations.
Your mind wants to be right.
It seeks internal consistency. It treats those pronouncements as undeniable truth, ensuring you stay trapped in that self-defined, limited reality.
Fortunately, the power of affirmation works the same way.
The good news is the opposite is true. The guide insists that by consciously choosing words like, I can do this, I am capable of learning this, or I will succeed because I will not stop trying, you program your brain for achievement.
And the brain then actively searches for resources, solutions, opportunities.
To make those affirmations true, it literally changes your filtering system for reality.
Given the constant chatter in our minds, how do we operationalize this? What's the actionable takeaway?
It's a demanding but life-changing audit. It requires a 7-day audit of every single word you say, both internally and externally, about yourself.
And the challenge is instant replacement therapy.
Exactly. When you catch a negative thought or statement, you must stop, acknowledge it, and then replace it instantly with a powerful, forward-looking statement.
So you replace, for example, the absolute, I can't speak English,
with the honest and empowering reality. I'm learning English and I am actively getting better every day. This small linguistic shift maintains hope and signals control to your brain.
That level of internal discipline leads us directly to the overall command structure in Lesson 34.
Control your mind or be controlled.
Your mind is maybe the most powerful tool you possess.
But if it is untrained, it will run wild. It will control you with cycles of negative patterning, anxiety, baseless fear, and regret about the past or future.
So allowing random destructive thoughts to dictate your mood, your energy, your decisions.
It's equivalent to handing over the keys to your life's direction to a drunk driver. It's chaos.
And the critique rightly points out that this can't be overly simplistic. It's not just choose happiness.
No. The guide recognizes that the mind must be trained like a highly specialized strong muscle. You must gain the ability to choose which thoughts receive your attention, focus, and energy, and which ones you simply let drift by, like clouds in the sky.
The core realization is that you do not have to accept, believe, or act upon every negative thought that pops into your head.
You are the sovereign filter.
So what are the training methods?
The guide recommends specific, proven tools. Consistent meditation, reflective journaling, repetitive positive affirmations, and surrounding yourself with intentional, positive content. These are the tools required to transition from being the mind's slave to becoming its conscious master.
The actionable takeaway here must be achievable then, given the resistance people feel towards starting something like meditation.
Absolutely. Start small, but start today. Commit to just 5 minutes of daily meditation, a manageable, non-intimidating goal.
And when you find yourself spiraling into negativity,
The physical technique is crucial. Take a deep breath, ground yourself in the present moment, and consciously choose a better, more productive thought. Vigorously implement the principle, gold in, gold out. If you feed your mind intellectual and emotional garbage, you are guaranteed to get garbage results in your life.
Lesson 35 is perhaps the most challenging principle in the entire guide,
But it's also the most liberating when you fully accept it.
taking 100% responsibility.
This is the ultimate non-negotiable foundation of self-ownership. The successful person internalizes the difficult truth that they are 100% responsible for their life, its trajectory, and all its outcomes, both good and bad.
The critique asked us to discuss the emotional burden of this. It's heavy because it means accepting the blame for the results you don't like.
It does, but the guide is focused on the danger of the alternative, which is the blame trap. Blaming external forces, the government, the economy, luck, your boss, your parents, it keeps you permanently powerless.
Because you're a victim.
As long as you believe your life is controlled externally, you are forced to wait passively for someone else or some external event to fix it for you. You're a passenger.
But responsibility, the guide insists, is not the same as blame.
Not at all. It is the power of response. Bad things will happen to everyone, regardless of effort. That is life. However, how you respond to those circumstances, your choice of attitude, of action, of what you learn, that is always 100% within your control.
And that response determines your trajectory.
And your final results. Taking responsibility means regaining control over your life's narrative.
So the actionable takeaway is a linguistic and mental pivot.
Yes. Stop allowing the passive phrase, "it happened to me," to cross your lips or enter your mind. Instead, the immediate pivot must be to ask, okay, this happened. What specific small action am I going to take about it right now?
Focus only on what you can control.
Solely on the levers you can control and the actions you can take differently starting this moment. Complete, unwavering ownership is the price of freedom.
Finally, we close out the mindset section by dealing with the necessary baggage of the past. Lesson 32.
Letting go of yesterday?
We all carry weights. We all have mistakes, failures, past wrongs that drag us down.
And the core concept is that your past does not define your future, but dwelling on it can certainly destroy your present. These heavy memories are unnecessary weights you must stop carrying if you intend to move forward with speed and efficiency.
The guide offers a simple, hopeful truth.
Every morning is a brand new beginning, a genuine reset. You are not your mistakes. You are who you consciously choose to become from this very moment forward. The person you were last week has no veto power over the person you are becoming today.
We have to reframe the past. It should be seen as a lesson.
A lesson to learn from and grow from, not a perpetual prison to be confined in. Dwelling on what was, focusing on regret or what you should have done differently, it fundamentally prevents you from seeing the opportunities of what can be right now.
The actionable takeaway is designed to be cathartic.
Very. The guide recommends a genuine self-forgiveness exercise. Write a letter to your past self, acknowledging the failure, accepting the mistake, and concluding with the final powerful line, "I forgive you. It is time to release this weight and move forward."
You hold the pen.
You hold the pen. You have the power to write a better, forward-looking ending to your story.
All right, we've established the right environment and the right mindset. Now we shift entirely to practical application.
The day-to-day observable work that converts intention into reality.
And lesson 22 is the foundation. Small actions, massive results.
This concept directly counters the popular fantasy that success is built on one massive heroic effort. The core concept is that success relies not on waiting for one big, perfect, motivated moment, but on small, persistent, consistent daily actions.
The real crucial effort is the invisible, compounded effort.
Yes. And the power of this principle is revealed in the magnified results the source highlights.
The mathematics of it.
Consider the math. Reading just 10 pages of a quality book every single day results in roughly 30 comprehensive books read per year.
That's huge.
Or practicing a language like English for just 30 minutes daily. It leads to functional fluency in 1 year. Small daily savings, automatically invested, accumulate into serious, life-changing money over 5 years.
And none of these require massive, exhausting willpower.
They only require ruthless consistency.
And this aligns with the organic nature of growth, right?
Perfectly. Real results, like real confidence and real competence, they don't happen instantly. Think of a farmer planting a seed. For the first many days, nothing seems to be happening on the surface.
But the crucial growth.
The roots and the foundation are building invisibly underground due to small, consistent input of water and sunlight. If you quit after a week because you don't see the sprout, you miss the entire harvest.
The compelling analogy here is the river.
A raging flood might cause chaos, but it doesn't achieve lasting change. A river cuts through the hardest rock, not because of its raw, intense power,
but because of its infinite persistence. Those small drops of water applied every single second, every single day, over vast amounts of time.
So the actionable takeaway is to start micro, today. Stop worrying about the perfect macro routine.
Start with an action so small it feels almost ridiculous to skip it.
Exactly. 10 push-ups, 5 pages of reading, 15 minutes of dedicated learning on a specific skill. You must stop underestimating the cumulative exponential power of small daily actions. That consistency creates a momentum that intensity can never match.
This momentum principle flows naturally into lesson 30.
Discipline trumps motivation.
This is where we acknowledge the human condition.
We have to. Motivation is a temporary, fleeting feeling. It's a spark that quickly dies out. It's dependent on mood, weather, circumstance. If you wait for the feeling of motivation to arrive before you act,
you'll spend most of your life waiting.
You will. Discipline, however, is permanent. It is the consistent, non-emotional fire that burns regardless of how you feel.
The discipline test, then, is simple. Showing up when you feel like it.
And crucially, showing up when you don't feel like it at all. It means studying when you're bored, working when you're tired, and maintaining your commitment even when the initial enthusiasm has completely faded.
This is the defining characteristic of champions and high achievers.
It is. They are defined by discipline, not merely talent. They show up every day because they committed to the goal, not because they happen to feel inspired that morning. They established a standard, a system, and a non-negotiable habit that bypasses the emotional brain entirely.
So the actionable takeaway is to implement systems to bypass reliance on motivation altogether.
Build automatic systems and habits. Make your goals non-negotiable, something you do automatically, just like brushing your teeth.
No one needs a motivational speech to brush their teeth.
Right. It's simply what you do because you committed to a standard of dental hygiene. Apply that same commitment to your most important goal.
This point is immediately reinforced by lesson 33.
Consistency is more powerful than intensity.
Success has to be viewed as a marathon, not a sprint. Intense effort for a short period, cramming, overworking short bursts. It burns you out.
It often causes injury, and it yields very little long-term structural gain. Consistent, small effort applied relentlessly creates sustainable momentum and lasting, deep change.
We see the comparative effectiveness across every domain.
It's fundamentally better for your health and retention to exercise 20 minutes daily than to exhaust yourself with 2 hours once a week. It is vastly more effective to study a skill for 30 minutes daily than to cram 5 hours on a Sunday.
The brain and the body respond better to steady, predictable input
than to chaotic, intense spikes.
That water dripping analogy is worth bringing back here because it perfectly illustrates consistency.
Thousands of small, consistent drops over time create a hole in the rock. The guide warns that intensity might splash water everywhere, creating noise and drama, but consistency is the only force that drills deep and establishes lasting change.
So the actionable takeaway is a focus challenge.
Choose one specific, small habit related to your biggest goal, say 10 minutes of exercise or writing 500 words, and commit to doing it every single day for 100 days. This focused commitment establishes the crucial habit loop and builds the necessary psychological and physical momentum before you even think about increasing the intensity.
Next, we cover the critical financial and intellectual component of self-ownership with lesson 29.
Investing in yourself, the multiplier effect.
This concept demands a reordering of financial priorities.
And the core concept is simple, yet almost universally overlooked. Investing in your mind, your skills, and your knowledge is the single highest return investment available to you.
The tragic reality is that many people prioritize gadgets, instant gratification, short-term pleasure.
Buying a luxury meal, a new phone, or a trip over long-term, life-changing growth, like a specialized course, a book, or a mentor.
This speaks to the logic of the untouchable asset.
It does. External items, your house, your car, your bank account, they can be lost, stolen, or destroyed by market forces or catastrophe.
But what you learn, the skills you acquire, the competence you embody,
can never be taken away. Your knowledge allows you to rebuild everything if you lose it all tomorrow. It is the only truly secure form of wealth.
Crucially, the source establishes a direct, unwavering link here.
Your earning ability is directly connected to your learning ability. Every dollar, every hour, every ounce of focused energy spent on growth on coaches, books, seminars, advanced education comes back multiplied.
Multiplied how?
In the form of respect, new opportunities, and ultimate financial and temporal freedom. This is the only investment where the principal grows exponentially with consistent use.
So the actionable takeaway requires an immediate restructuring of consumption habits.
Commit to learning something new daily. Not passively, but actively. Be intentional about investing money and time into education, books, and mentors. View this expenditure not as a cost, but as the most secure, high-yield investment you can possibly make in your future.
And finally, within the mechanics of achievement, Lesson 26 reminds us of the vehicle that carries us.
Health is non-negotiable wealth.
This principle serves as a critical counterbalance to that drive for relentless achievement.
It does. Health is described as the real wealth, the fundamental vehicle that carries you through life. Sacrificing your physical and mental health for the sake of financial success is, in the long run, entirely counterproductive and tragically common.
We have to highlight the terrible cost of neglect.
People destroy their bodies through chronic stress, poor diet, and lack of sleep during their chase for success, only to spend the fortunes they earned on hospital bills.
And find themselves too sick, exhausted, or mentally depleted to enjoy the very success they sacrificed everything to achieve.
The guide insists that the requirements for optimal performance are not optional luxuries, they are non-negotiable primaries.
This includes consistent exercise,
78 hours of quality sleep, and eating for fuel, not just for pleasure. Successful people do not view exercise or meditation as a side hobby. They view them as mandatory inputs for maintaining optimal cognitive and physical performance.
The actionable takeaway is to formalize health as a requirement for your success, not a reward after it.
Make daily movement non-negotiable, at least a 20-minute walk. Prioritize your sleep hygiene and consistent hydration. True success requires a healthy body and a peaceful mind. Achieving one without the other is merely acquiring a temporary, expensive disappointment.
All right, we've built the external structure, fortified the internal mindset, and established the consistent daily mechanics. Now we bring this deep dive home with the final crucial concepts that ensure sustained achievement and internal fulfillment, starting with Lesson 37.
Progress over perfection.
The core concept here addresses one of the biggest psychological roadblocks.
Perfectionism. It is almost always a trap. It is fear, cleverly disguised. Waiting for the perfect idea, the perfect setup, the perfect time, or the perfect skill level guarantees one outcome.
Waiting forever and ultimate inaction.
Exactly. The beginner's reality, as the guide states, is a hard truth. Perfect does not exist. The mantra is, done is better than perfect.
The first version of anything you produce, a new habit, a written document, a piece of code, a speech, is going to be terrible.
It is, but you cannot improve something that does not exist. You cannot edit a blank page. You must produce the terrible first draft to start the improvement cycle.
The successful approach, therefore, is defined by momentum.
Successful people understand they must start before they feel ready and then refine, iterate, and learn along the way based on real-world feedback, not hypothetical anxieties. They value action over flawless execution.
The actual takeaway is permission, which is often the thing the self-critical listener needs most.
Give yourself explicit permission to be a beginner, to be clumsy, and to fail publicly. Identify one thing you've been putting off this month due to fear of imperfection. Starting a journal, sending an email, trying a new exercise, and commit to doing it imperfectly this week.
Just ship the ugly version.
There's the ugly version.
Next, we look at the internal justification for all this struggle in Lesson 36.
Your dreams are valid.
In a world that's constantly trying to lower your expectations, the guide insists on something defiant.
It does. Your dreams are valid no matter how impossible or ridiculous they may sound to those around you. Every single great achievement that changed the world was, at one point, called impossible by the majority.
The source insists on a deeply personal connection here.
It says your most ambitious dreams were placed in your heart for a specific reason. Not everyone needs to or will understand the vision because that vision was given to you. Trying to get external validation for your deepest, biggest dream is a fool's errand.
The path forward requires only two things then.
First, you must believe in the vision yourself. And second, you need to apply consistent, daily, high-quality work. The guide warns that people will inevitably laugh at your vision, they will criticize your efforts,
But once you succeed,
they will universally stop laughing and start asking how exactly you did it.
so the actionable takeaway is a commitment ritual.
Write your biggest, most audacious dream down on paper and place it where you see it multiple times daily. Affirm its possibility and commit to working for it today as if your entire future identity depends upon it.
Because in reality, it absolutely does.
It does.
Lesson 39 reminds us of the ultimate true currency we are fighting for.
Protect your peace at all costs.
This serves as a vital safeguard. In the intense chase for achievements, you must never forget the most important thing.
Your internal peace. Millions, accolades, or fame are utterly meaningless, the guide warns. If your mind is perpetually in chaos, driven by anxiety, stress, resentment, or external drama.
So peace isn't a distant reward you find after you've achieved success.
No, it must be cultivated and protected now. This involves deliberate structural actions, setting robust personal boundaries, walking away from toxic relationships, even professional ones, and consciously refusing to engage in petty drama or arguments that deplete your emotional reservoir.
The choice to let go is often a profound sign of strength, not weakness.
It is. Not every insult, not every argument, and not every unsolicited opinion deserves your finite energy or causes you stress. Valuing your peace above being momentarily right is a critical hallmark of emotional maturity and true self-ownership.
The actionable takeaway is an immediate diagnosis.
Identify the top 3 people, situations, or topics that are currently stealing your peace. Ask yourself clearly, are they truly worth the internal cost? Then, consciously set a boundary, distance yourself, or let the issue go entirely. Make internal peace a non-negotiable priority today.
This leads us to the final, necessary reminder that often determines the difference between quitting and success. Lesson 40.
You are closer than you think.
When you feel that inevitable dip, the frustration, the burnout, the powerful urge to quit, you have got to remember this core concept.
The guide insists you are often far closer to your major goals than you realize. The great tragedy is that most people stop working and quit right before the breakthrough moment.
This is where the powerful analogy of the airplane comes into sharp focus.
Think about the physics of flight. An airplane burns the vast majority of its fuel and energy just getting off the ground. That hard, taxing, high-resistance takeoff phase.
But once it breaks through that initial resistance, once it gains altitude,
it flies smoothly and efficiently. The hardest work is the work you are doing right now. You are in that high-resistance takeoff phase.
the struggle you feel is not a sign of failure.
It is preparation. Every single day you choose not to quit is a day closer to breaking through the resistance and achieving cruising altitude. Perseverance is often the only remaining variable.
So the actionable takeaway is a moment of intense affirmation when the urge to stop is strongest.
When frustration hits, physically stop, remember why you started, and tell yourself this truth. I am closer than I think. I have endured too much to quit now. I will not give up.
We've thoroughly mapped out a new path, a demanding but deeply rewarding framework focused entirely on self-ownership. This involves choosing who you surround yourself with, mastering the words you choose, controlling the quality of your thoughts, and ruthlessly prioritizing the small, consistent actions that build real achievement. This guide compels you to take full, unwavering command of your trajectory today.
And as we discussed the absolute necessity of self-investment in Lesson 29, that profound argument that skills and knowledge are the only assets that can never be taken away. This raises a final critical question for you, the listener. If your goal is ultimate financial and temporal freedom, a life of genuine ownership, are you currently dedicating 10% of your available free time and 10% of your earnings to strictly learning, skill acquisition, and conscious growth? Okay. Or are you just hoping that the skills and knowledge you already possess will somehow be enough to sustain and support the radically different person you want to become 5 years from now? Your current investment is the single most accurate guarantee of your future freedom.
Stay strong, keep fighting, take action today, making your dreams automatic and non-negotiable habits. Thank you for going on this intense deep dive with us.